News and entertainment for Melrose.
You are watching MMTV.
This portion of MMTV's Great American Spectator is brought to you in part by Pro-Am Enterprises. Pro-Am for all your embroidery needs. Call us at 781-662-8888, or better yet, come see us at our convenient location at 180 Tremont Street, Melrose, Massachusetts. Pro-Am Enterprises, a proud supporter of Whiz Bang Productions and MMTV.
When I was just a wee little lad, full of health and joy, my father homeward came one night and gave to me a toy. A wonder to behold it was, with many colors bright. And the moment I laid eyes on it, it became my heart's delight. It went zip when it moved and bop when it stopped, and whir when it stood still. I never knew just what it was, and I guess I never will.
Hello. Welcome to this episode of Great American Spectator. I'm your host, Mark Dustin. This episode, we return to the Larz Anderson Museum, one of my favorite places, for one of their fantastic lawn events. But instead of the big, giant, mega car shows, this is a small show, and I think you'll understand when you see it. That's why they call it the Micro Car Show. Let's see what happens. Okay. Arriving early, we were cordially invited to the home of Charles Gould, the official Micro Car Show coordinator. We were invited for a complimentary brunch and pre-show gathering in preparation for the parade to the museum. Well, we're here at the pre-show show, I guess you'd call this. This group is, well, let me start talking. First of all, could I have your name, please?
Daniel.
Daniel and
Dimitri.
Dimitri. Now, you guys represent a company, I guess.
That is correct.
And the name of the company is?
Alpha Cars in Boxborough, Massachusetts.
Now, are you a collector car company, or?
We are automotive and motorcycle dealership.
You're a dealership, okay. And now this is sort of a meet and greet for all the people that are going to the Larz Anderson lawn event today. So you're actually part of a bigger organization?
Well, this is a gathering for the vehicle owners that are bringing vehicles for the event right here. And we were invited to the event, and we brought 3 Russian cars from our Russian import car collection.
Interesting, interesting. So now what is your status at the company?
I work in the marketing department.
So you sell cars?
Nope, just list them online, advertising and merchandising.
Okay. No, okay. So that's enough of that. Let's get down to why we're actually here.
Yeah.
Now, what did you bring here today?
Right behind us, we have a G.A.S. 1965 ZAZ micro car, you'd call it.
Well, that's kind of what this whole show is, a micro car show.
Yep.
So give us some statistics on it.
It is a rear engine, air-cooled little 4-seater. It has, I'm guessing, probably around 900 cc engine, which is actually, with the cars around here, is one of the biggest engines in the show. It also was in the movie 007 GoldenEye. The CIA agent who picked up James Bond from the airport was actually driving one of these.
Was it this car?
No, it wasn't this one. Same color, though.
I was going to say, it was just doubled in price.
Yeah. But it is very interesting, very quirky, awesome little running vehicle.
So what would you say the top speed in a car like this is?
That's a good one.
Well, if you go down the hill, it's unlimited. But on a flat surface, I would say it should be able to reach, at some point, 90 kilometers an hour, which is about 55, 57 miles an hour. And it will feel very exciting inside.
I bet. Will it take a corner at that speed?
It will take corner at any speed. I don't know where you end up. after that, but it is pretty good handling car. As Daniel said, it's a 4-cylinder V4 engine that was installed in the vehicle from a Russian military equipment, and the vehicle itself was assisted by Fiat because of the political affiliation between Soviet Union and Italian Communist Party. We can say these things now. They were helping each other, so they helped with the vehicle design, and then it was topped off with this engine, and it's been in production for through early 90s in a slightly different shape.
Do they still manufacture them?
No. The factory remained in Ukraine in the town called Zaporozhye, and the name for this vehicle is also Zaporozhets. So the factory is now non-functioning, but there's still thousands, many thousands of these vehicles on Russian roads, and they still make parts, and they're very functional.
Now, okay, so when this was a brand new vehicle, what do you think it would cost, brand new, to buy?
I would say it would cost a little over 3,000 rubles. And just to give you a comparison, a top-level engineer that worked back then, say at any factory, would make 180 rubles. But it was somewhat irrelevant because you had to wait almost 10 years to be able to purchase an automobile, so there was plenty of time to save. Ronald Reagan had a great joke on that after a visit to Soviet Union in the early 80s.
Now, when you say he had to wait 10 years to purchase it, you mean before the car would be ready for him or before he could get the money to do it?
There were so few cars made in Soviet Union that was made available to public that someone would have to put their name on the line. First, they had to qualify, so they had to be a top producer in the factory or wherever they worked, and then they would qualify to put their name on the list that would get submitted to be able to purchase an automobile.
So you had to earn it in more than one way.
Many different ways, yes.
That's really interesting. Well, I'm going to end the interview here because I'll probably catch you down at the other one because you said you have 3 vehicles here. So I'll probably catch you on some of the other vehicles. But I thank you for your time here this morning. And we'll probably see you in the parade anyways.
Definitely.
Great. Thanks again. The next car I'm going to interview for is something I always dreamed about having on my own. I never quite made it to this. I did have a Lotus, but this was always the car I dreamt about having as far as the basic roadster. And this car is a
Westfield.
Now, this is an offshoot of the Lotus 7.
Yes. In England, this is a very popular style of kit car. Several companies make them. This is a company that actually started out making replacement chassis for real Lotuses and then realized they could throw a few more parts in the box and call it a kit. So.
And your name is?
Mike Garrity.
Now, did you build this on your own?
Yes.
You did a beautiful job.
Yeah, so I had this old Miata that after 20 New England winters was getting kind of rotted out, but I still loved the car, and the Westfield will fit the Miata engine. So I ordered this box, and after about 9 months, it showed up down, a big box of parts showed up at the dock down in Boston, and we went and picked it up with a truck and dragged it home and spent about 3 years building this out of it.
So it has a Miata engine in it? That's what I'm driving now.
Yeah.
Right over there.
Yep, no, that's what I drive too, but this is my previous one.
Right.
So.
Well, that was one of the only drawbacks to the Lotuses was the engines that they put in them. The original 7 had what they called a Coventry Climax engine in it, which was a tractor engine basically.
Yeah.
And I had an Elan, which had the twin overhead cam engine in it, but it was a lot faster, but you spent all your time tuning it.
Yeah, and the Coventry Climax is pretty delicate too. On a trip one weekend last year, we met a guy that rebuilds Coventry Climaxes because they often break. The Miata engine's a lot more reliable.
That's what I mean. You want something you just jump in, turn the key, and go for a ride.
Yeah.
Now, what's your favorite aspect about the car itself? And I got a feeling I know what the number one thing is going to be.
Yeah, no, it's just hilarious to drive. I'm just laughing hysterically half the time when I'm driving down the road because it's just fun.
That's what I mean. There was a show on, and it's still on in reruns. It's from England. It's called Top Gear. Mm-hmm. And it was amazing that they didn't have a 7, but they had a oh, what was it called? It was another company that makes these.
Caterham.
Caterham.
Yeah, Caterham's the most famous builder of these, and they actually own the license to the design from Lotus.
Yeah, and they also, you know, when they also during the show they also give it to their crazy test driver,
Yep.
the
The Stig.
Stig, and he did an amazing lap
Yeah.
in one of those cars, and it just blew away almost other high-powered cars.
Yeah, no, we go to a lot of vintage races, and you'll see on a twisty track, this will keep up with the big race cars.
That's what amazed me about it. My Lotus, my little Elan, would keep up with most things. You know, on the highway, I had a friend who had a Porsche 911, and he'd blow me away on a highway.
Yeah, but on the twisty bits, these things are a lot of fun.
Right on his tail.
Yeah.
But now, for instance, what would you say the toughest part about making it? Did you do this paint job? It's beautiful.
No, so that was all done. The toughest part was they're very rare in this country, and so they're all right-hand drive. I ordered this one left-hand drive, and pretty much everything about the steering wheel on the wrong side was problematic. So, for example, if you turn on the windshield wipers, they wipe in front of the passenger and don't do anything in front of me and things like that. So.
Now, I didn't look inside yet, but does it have a close ratio gearbox?
Yeah, it's the standard Miata 5-speed, so it's a nice gearbox.
All right, that was one of the things I always liked. It was just a flick of the wrist.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so did you add any of your own personal features to it?
Oh, yeah. No, I went off book a lot. So, for example, I didn't like the dashboard that came with the kit, so I learned how to do hammer-formed aluminum and did my own dash, and it took me about 3 years total because I kept going off on tangents like that.
Well, you did a beautiful job. I just want to tell you that this would be something that, like I said before, I noticed you got is that a camera?
Yeah, there's a GoPro and a GPS antenna and the fire extinguisher. So I use the roll bar kind of as my rack for all my gear.
It's a beautiful vehicle. I'm jealous, and I want to thank you for taking your time. You did a beautiful job on this car, and we'll see you at the show.
Yep.
Take care.
The first time that I picked it up, I had a big surprise. 'Cause right on the bottom were two big buttons that looked like big green eyes. I first pushed one and then the other, then I twisted its lid. And when I set it down again, here is what it did. It went zip when it moved and when it stopped and when it stood still. I never knew just what it was, and I guess I never will. It first marched left and then marched right, then marched under a chair. And when I looked where it had gone, it wasn't even there. I started to cry, but my daddy laughed 'cause he knew that I would find. When I turned around, my marvelous toy would be chugging from behind. Zip when it moved and when it stopped and when it stood still. I never knew just what it was, and I guess years have gone by too quickly it seems. I have my own little boy, and yesterday I gave to him my marvelous little toy. His eyes nearly popped right out of his head, and he gave a squeal of glee. Neither one of us knows just what it is, but he loves it just like me. It still goes zip when it moves and pop when it stops and whir when it stands still. I never knew just what it was, and I guess I never will.
We're here, and now we're going to start doing some interviews with some of the owners of these vehicles. And I always strive for the unique and different. And this show is definitely full of the unique and different. And here we have, and could I have your name?
Alan Sisson.
Alan, and I walked up to this and I was saying, oh, it's an Audi, but it's not. It's actually a
DKW, which is part of Auto Union, and that's the company that became Audi later on.
Because it has a very similar mark on the front.
That's correct. That's the four rings are because there were four companies that came together as the union, and Audi was actually existed in 1908, and before that there was a company named Horst, and he was taken out of his own company because he was a little too radical with his ideas, and then he formed Audi. And then there was a small luxury brand called Wander. And those three joined DKW, which was the larger company at the time. They made the smaller cars for common people. Before Volkswagens existed, the DKW is what most Germans owned. And if you were really wealthy, you owned an Audi or a Horst or a Wander. And those four joined in 1930. And then around 1934, 35, then Porsche joined, or built for Auto Union, those race cars we know, the Silver Era race cars that won all the races in the 30s before the war. Then after the war, DKW came back and sold three-stroke two-cylinder cars. This is a two-stroke.
Hold on. Three-stroke. Now, what were the cycles of a three-stroke?
I said three-cylinder.
Oh, okay. I was going to say three-stroke. That was something new. I've been around engines for a little while, and I never heard of a three-stroke.
This is a two-cylinder, two-stroke engine. Then after the war, they came out with three-cylinder, two-stroke engines. I just put the three in the wrong place there. So after the war, they came out with that. Around 1962, the desire for a two-stroke engine was getting pretty small. So they retired the DKW name, which everybody associated with a two-stroke engine, and brought back the Audi name they owned. And that's why in the mid-'60s you started seeing Audis, what we know today as Audis, have blossomed into the company you know today. It's the same company as DKW, they just now are using the Audi name.
All right. Now, this is a beautiful car. Did you have to do a lot of restoration on this car?
I did not. It may have had just a little bit of restoration before I got it. The car came from South Africa. A man that restored a lot of cars in South Africa owned it. This apparently was his favorite car. He passed away, unfortunately, in 2003, and his wife sold all his cars at auction, and this was one of them. So I bought it at an auction in 2003.
From South Africa?
From South Africa. They brought the cars here. Actually, I bought it right here on this very grass. Bottoms and Butterfields used to have an auction here every April, and for 3 years they had it here. They now have it in Newport, Rhode Island. And this was one of the years, and they brought his whole collection here. I actually came to buy another car from the collection, but saw this one, was more interested in, and that's why I got it.
So let me have some details on this, horsepower, all that.
Yeah, it's 20 horsepower measured in the European units, and it's has I think a 684 cc. They call it a 700. They round it up. So this is be an F5 700. F5 stands for the 1935, the year they made it. They made an F1, and 31, and F2, F3, F4, and F5.
And the transmission?
And the transmission's a front-wheel drive transmission. There's a gear shifter that actually passes through the gas tank here and connects to the transmission here in the front. Because Audi actually made this. This was actually made in an Audi plant as part of Auto Union, but they badged this a DKW even though it was made in an Audi plant.
How many speeds?
It has 3 speeds.
Just 3 speeds. Wow, you think you'd give it more? Well, I actually, for the size of the car, I imagine you'd have a lot of trouble with space on more gears, but it's a beautiful little car. What do you think top speed on it is?
As fast as I've ever gotten, it's about 45. That's about as fast as it really wants to go. It might go 50, but it would be very unhappy. It's very happy at 35. Anything above that's a little bit of a strain for it.
That's amazing because it really looks fast just sitting still.
Yeah, it does. It looks fast, but obviously it's not because it just has the 2 cylinders. Yeah, so.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Now, how long have you owned it?
I've owned it since 2003, so yeah. So basically, I guess that's about 15 years, I guess.
Now, I mean, the question with a lot of these cars, as far as being, because like I was saying before, I always look for the unusual and the unique, and like I say, this show is full of the unique and unusual.
Is, yeah.
Now, what do you do if you need a part or anything fixed on this?
Well, you do most of the repairs yourself, but the parts, surprisingly, you can get fairly easily in Uruguay. And the reason for that is a lot of Germans after the war moved to South Africa. Uruguay appears to be one of the countries they started in. You can actually get original parts for this car at Uruguay. It's all online. I just email this one fella, tell him what I need. He says, I have those. Just send me some money by wire, and I send it to you. The first time I did, I was worried I'd never see the parts, but he's seemed to be a very honest fella. So I get them from the same person. I've gotten coils, points, condensers, all from him.
That's amazing.
It comes right in the box, originally from Germany. They're basically, original.
And they were original parts.
Original parts in the boxes, yeah. Generally totally unused. So they have quite a stock of them over there.
And of all places, Uruguay in South America.
You can try to get them from Germany directly, but I've had almost no success that way. The people they say, well, we might be able to send it to you in 6-8 months. This guy gets them out to you. As soon as you send the wire, you'll have it within a week.
That's amazing.
He boxes them up and they come in.
That's amazing. Well, it's a beautiful vehicle, and I hope you have many years of fun driving with it. It looks like you've taken immaculate care of it, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And many years of happy driving.
Yeah, part of the reason it survives so well is this is all aluminum except for the fenders. That's steel, but the body here is all aluminum. And
So it's pretty light then.
So it's light, and it also doesn't rust because of the aluminum.
That's a good thing.
That's right. Yeah, that's why
All
I
right.
don't restore it much.
Have a great day.
All right,
Thanks again.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye. See ya.
The one thing I really like about this show is that when I do these shows, I always look for the unique and the interesting vehicles. Some shows are very hard to find something unique and interesting. This show, everywhere I look, is something unique and interesting. This car that we're going to look at right now, when I was in high school, this was the car everybody had to have. I don't know, I'm not sure why, but everybody seemed to have one of these. And this car is a...
It's a 1959 Austin Healey Sprite.
All right, and you're the owner, and your name is?
I'm Greg Bales.
All right, now, Greg, how long have you owned the vehicle?
About 2 or 3 years. Not very long, but I've been enjoying it.
It's a fun car to drive. I know that. It's not very powerful, but it's a fun car to drive.
Yeah, I love driving it. There's a little windy road that I like to take it on, and
Kind of like driving a go-kart, isn't it?
yeah, you really have to think about how you go through each corner because you don't have a whole lot of power, but you can use all of it.
Well, that's the thing. I think that's the beauty of the microcar. For instance, I was following the gentleman that's in charge of this event.
Yeah.
He had a little Fiat 500 that we went back to his house to pick up. And on the way back, I'm following him. I have a Mazda Miata, and I'm following him, and I had a heck of a time just trying to keep up with him. And he just got every ounce out of that little Fiat 500. It's just a little tiny thing, and I'm just doing everything I can to keep up with him.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. Now, you said that you bought the car. It was pretty much restored when you got it?
Yeah, so we've done a couple of things to improve it. We changed it to disc brakes all around, but
That's a major enhancement, though.
yeah. So we still got to do some fiddling around with it, but we switched it to disc brakes all around, and we're just getting to drive it and enjoy.
So you had all 4 wheels changed?
Yeah. So it had steel wheels originally. We switched it to alloys because we found out after we did the brake conversion that wheels don't fit. So
Exactly.
had to get some new wheels.
Now, I don't know whether this is what you did, where you got this kit, but I had a British car, and it was one of the first British cars that had 4-wheel disc brakes. It was called the Lotus Elan.
Yeah.
And the reason I lost that car was because modern vehicles have dual master cylinders. That did not. It only had a single master cylinder. So if I lost one wheel, I lost them all. Does this have a dual master cylinder?
No, it does not.
Watch your calipers.
Oh, yeah.
Watch the calipers. I'll tell you that right now, because I always own British, and British, I don't know where you got the kit, but British cars are notorious for leaks and things like that. So be careful. Now, how's the engine and everything? Has the engine been rebuilt or anything like that?
It was rebuilt by the previous owner. It's just a 948cc, so
Right.
A-series engine, just as what it would have come with. But, just rebuilt for when it was restored.
Did it have any increase in horsepower?
No. So it's running at most the original 42 horsepower. But
Which is plenty. It's enough. It's enough for a car of this size.
yeah, you're not doing highway cruising with this.
It's not your everyday driver.
When I'm on the Cape, it is.
Oh, one of those. No, but that would be a great place to have it. I mean, down there, just got to be careful of the salt. That's all.
Yeah. During that time of the year, I'm at college, so I don't have to worry about it.
Do you put it away for the winter?
Yeah, we put it away for the winter, but when I'm, during the summer and if I'm feeling crazy during break,
Yeah.
I'll bring it out and get really cold.
Now, this here, I mean, these small, and it's something I really haven't asked a lot of the people with these microcars. And when they were built and when people were using them, I don't think they really cared that much about this question. Nowadays, it would probably be really utmost in their minds. What have you ever checked to see what you get for mileage on this car?
I'm too afraid to. I mean, I could. It's not really a concern of mine with this because mostly, it's a fun car. It's just for, having fun with. So, if you want to check your mileage,
I think I'm going to start asking that question because, to me, I mean, a lot of these engines, like the last one I just interviewed was the Auto Union, and he's only, I forget what it was. I think it's a 900cc two-cylinder two-stroke. And I'm wondering, I know two-strokes are usually not good on gas, but still, 900 cc's. I'm going to start asking that question, I think.
It'll be interesting to hear the responses.
It would. Well, anyways, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And I hope you have many enjoyable years with it. And try and keep it this way, because this car will definitely, if you keep it in this kind of condition, this car will be definitely worth something in a few years. And
Definitely.
if nothing else, fun factor alone, we'll keep it going.
Yeah,
All right? Take care. Have a great day.
You too.
All right, well, moving right along here at Larz Anderson Park, and again, the unique and the interesting just keep on coming. This place is just loaded with this. Right now, I walked by this, and I wasn't sure what to make of this thing. Here's the owner, and your name is?
Gary Flomenhoft.
And, okay, I gave up. What is it?
It's a 1993 City L that I modified.
Now,
Electric. Originally electric and still electric.
still electric. Yeah. And you were telling me that it's, at a full charge, it's good for how long?
It'll go about 35 or 40 miles. But the original one was only good for 20. They built about 10,000 of these in Europe. There's only, I think, 200 in the U.S.
And you're saying they were originally from Denmark?
From Denmark, and now they're built in Germany. They're still making them. They built over 10,000 of them.
So now, were these utilized as like a commuter car?
Yeah, it was just a commuter car, kind of like a neighborhood electric vehicle, limited speed, limited range, just for, going back and forth to work.
And it was only a single passenger?
It was single passenger. It had a 33 mile an hour top speed and a 20 mile range, so I modified it.
Okay, and you were telling me that I was looking at the size of the battery, and it's, do you think you could upgrade this to like modern battery technology?
It has a state-of-the-art lithium battery in it. Got it from a Chevy Volt.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And that didn't increase your length?
The range. It's half the weight of the original and double the range, so it's like 4 times the capacity.
Oh, wow. But you say it takes 220 to charge it if it's gonna take less than a day to charge it.
Yeah. 220 has 6 times more energy than 110, so it charges much faster.
And I was surprised when you told me how fast it would go. Actually, it was a lot faster than I expected.
Yeah, well, like I said, the original would only do 30. This one does 50. I didn't want to get run over on a 2-lane highway, so I increased the speed to 50.
Now, how does it handle? I noticed that the single wheel is in the front, so that kind of makes it a little bit like I forget what that car was, what they called it on Top Gear, a Robin, the one that used to, every time it took a corner, it rolled over.
Yeah, well, the original of this would flip over if you took a corner too fast. So I widened the rear track by a foot, and now it'll do donuts. It won't flip over anymore. That was one of the problems with it. Was it would tilt over if you took a corner too fast. So
That's excellent, because that was one of the funniest episodes on Top Gear they ever did. Because
They
everywhere,
flip
flip it, everywhere he went, every corner he took, they had a crew flipping him back over again and repairing it and spray painting it and putting it back together again.
So
it was hilarious.
I widened it by a foot, so it won't do that anymore.
They actually put outriggers.
Right.
They put giant outriggers on it so he wouldn't flip it.
Right.
But that was hilarious.
That's one of the problems with this type of design. Most of them, as you see, will have two wheels in front.
Right.
They're more stable, so when they corner, they have the width. But that was a problem with the front single wheel in front design.
So now, how did you have to, what did you have to do to widen the track on it?
I replaced the rear end with a golf cart differential from a club car, so it's a foot wider. And I put in a spacer, so I don't know if you can see it, but I spaced it out by a foot, so so now it's stable.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Now, how long have you actually had the vehicle?
I've had it 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
Now, we're on this side of the car for a particular reason, because you've got it for sale. Don't you feel like letting it go is hard?
No, I'm just trying to sell all my stuff because I'm moving, so I can't really keep it. I've had it long enough. Time for someone else.
Oh, okay. I was saying after 20 years, it'd be like selling your dog.
No, I keep doing upgrades. I finally have it pretty well worked out, so it's running well.
That's amazing. Now, anything else that's really unusual about this vehicle? I noticed that it does have a soft top?
Yeah, it has a soft top. The other thing that's unusual was that the original one only carried one person. I turned it into a tandem, so a person can sit behind me.
Okay.
So it can carry two people. I figure if you're riding a motorcycle, you should be able to have someone behind you, right?
Yeah.
So that's different than the original. It has 5 times as much power as the original, so it accelerates like a bat out of hell.
Right.
And double the range, 5 times the power, and top speed is 50 instead of 30, so it's completely modified.
That's one thing about the new modern electric vehicles. I mean, things like the Tesla. They say that you can only go so far on them and everything, but they're really quick.
Yeah,
they're really quick vehicles.
The acceleration is not the limitation on electric cars. It's not even range. It's actually charging time. Is really the only limitation. I was involved with electric drag racing. If you know anything about drag racing, the record for electric quarter mile is now 6.9 seconds, which is what gas cars were doing in the 50s.
Right.
So acceleration, top speed, none of that is a problem. Even range, because the Tesla will go like 250, 300 miles. It's the charging time. You have to charge it for 2 hours or 3 hours. That's really the issue. But I think they're going to eventually have powered roadways where they'll be inductively charging the car as you drive down the road, and range will no longer be a problem.
I was watching TV the other night, and I came across what they call e-racing, e-formula.
Yeah.
And the one thing I noticed that was really unusual about that kind of racing, the cars themselves look just like Formula One cars.
Yeah.
Beautiful, aerodynamic cars.
Yeah.
But then I was watching, and all of a sudden, they went to pull into the pits, and I'm saying, oh, well, they're going to change the tire. They literally parked the car, the driver got out and got into another car.
Oh, really?
They actually changed cars because they run out of power.
Okay, well, I used to be involved with Formula Lightning, which was a university program, and they would have like a compartment on each side, like a Formula One vehicle. They would open up the compartment, they would change the batteries out in 15 seconds.
Really?
So I don't know why they're changing cars. They could just as easily change out the batteries, and they used to do it in 15 seconds, and there was no range limitation at all. They could go top speed the whole time.
I'm not positive of this, but I think the cars are basically based on like a skateboard platform. In other words, the whole bottom of the car is the battery. They're very thin, but a big giant square battery.
Oh, I see. Well, maybe they can't change them, but when we used to do electric formula racing, we would change the batteries out in like 15 to 30 seconds, and off they'd go. No limitation on range at all.
That's real interesting. Every time that's why I love these shows, because every time I come to these shows, I learn something new. And that's why I love doing it. especially this thing here. And I was really looking forward to doing this.
The show.
Well, no, it's my pleasure because, like I said before, when I do these shows, a lot of times I have a hard time finding things that are, really unique or interesting or rare. But this show, I don't know where to start first. I'm having trouble finding people that are still around their car. Usually they park their car and then they walk away. So I'm having trouble finding people that are at the cars. But this is really a great little vehicle, and I really thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Okay, I'm going to give people rides now.
Oh, good luck. Take care. Thank you. Now, nowadays, I'm sure everybody has seen one of these riding on the road, but not one of these, because these are the originals. These are the Austin Minis, or they go by many different names, but they're all what they call Minis. But these are the original Minis. These are the ones that created the legend of the Mini. These cars, although underpowered and front-wheel drive, took many autocross rallies, many different races, and people I think were amazed at what they could do with these cars once they saw what they could do on the tracks. Now, I have 3 owners here, and we'll start over here, and your name is?
Alex Daly.
And you own
I own the orange and black Mini Cooper S. It's a 1969, and it's been in my family since 1978. And
Right.
it's our family fun wagon and hot rod.
Well, you hit it right on the head. That's the thing about the Mini, was the fun.
Yeah.
The fun factor. It was loaded with fun factor. All right?
He's gonna have with clothes on.
Yeah. Well, all right. And you?
Hi, I'm Wendy Birchmeyer, and mine is a little different. It's a 1986 or 1990 is what it's billed as, an Austin Cooper, and then it's had the metal body taken off and it's been replaced by fiberglass, and there's probably only a handful of them around in the United States.
That was going to be my first question to you. I've never seen one with a T-top or anything like that. So that was a special made?
That was a make in Britain in those days, yes, but there aren't many left. There are some in Britain, almost none in the United States.
And how long have you owned that car?
About 4 years.
Wow, it looks neat. It's very neat. And last of all, but not least, snuggle up in here.
Sure. David Schwartz. I own a 68 Morris Mini Traveler, the Woody wagon. I've owned it for at least 6 years now. Compared to the normal sedans, they made a minuscule number of these. Out of the 5.5 million total Minis, they only made about 22,000 of this model, this particular Woody wagon model.
So this was more like the, what they call them, estate wagons?
An estate car. I don't know why the Brits called the wagons estate cars.
Well, you could probably fit a couple of bags of groceries in the back, right?
It's the biggest car I've got now. I make my Home Depot runs in it.
Put a bag of nails in the back or something, right?
Bark mulch, a toilet, a vanity.
Well, let's get back together again here. All right, now, okay, so now yours, who owns the oldest one?
This is a 68. Yours is
69.
And
Mine's a brand new 86.
86, okay. So yours is the oldest one. Did you have to do any refurb to the car?
After I'd had it a couple of years, I rebuilt the engine with a fellow member of the club, our club mechanic, Dave Black. And, I haven't done any cosmetics on it. Sooner or later I will have to. I desperately need to re-varnish the woodwork.
That's not too bad.
But I like owning a daily driver because I love letting kids climb in. I love giving rides here at Larz Anderson.
So you consider this a daily driver?
Oh yeah, during the good weather, I'll drive it from April through December until the first road salt hits the roads.
Wow.
I use it as much as possible.
Wow. So, and now who's the next one in age? And how long have you owned yours?
I've owned mine since 2011, but it was my dad's before that, and he's had it since 1978.
Okay, now have you had to do any major repairs to it at all?
No major repairs, just simple wear and tear stuff. I mean, it's been heavily hot rodded over the past 40 years.
Okay, here we go. This is what I was waiting for. because that was the thing about the Mini. I think that's what took everybody by surprise when they started racing them.
Yep.
They started racing them with rallies and all that, and I think the thing that surprised most people was how they handled.
Yes.
Because they were so low and square that they handled like a go-kart.
Yep.
Almost.
And that's how they're designed. You know, it's essentially the biggest motor you can, put it in the front, put it over the front axle, and put the wheels in each corner and drop it down. I've got about 3.5 inches of ground clearance on mine. So, you know, it's perfect for taking corners and rallying and stuff like that. You know, drag racing, forget it. I'll see you at the next stop. But everything else it's meant to be fun. It's meant to be driven. And, you know, they won the Rally to Monte Carlo because it's front-wheel drive. Right. And it's the first transverse-mounted front-wheel drive car in existence. They were designed to be family-friendly. And then when John Cooper started taking them to rallies and getting more momentum, more speed, and more traction and stuff out of them, that's when they hit the major fun meter.
Yeah, I think that was the secret. As long as you kept them rolling.
As long as you kept them shiny side up, that's when they're good.
Right. But I mean, as long as you kept them rolling and you didn't have to come to a stop to start them up again.
Yeah.
Well, as long as you kept them rolling, the RPMs up, you could really motivate with them around corners and all that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've taken mine to Lime Rock and I blow Porsches away in every corner. They catch me in the straightaway, but with the first corner, I suck by them again.
Oh, so you've actually raced it?
Oh yeah, that's why my dad had this car. It was originally built for racing, and then he decided that the car seats and everything don't quite fit in with the roll cage and the harness seats, so it switched out to more family fun stuff. I actually was 6 months old and went to my first car show in that car. 3 suitcases, a car seat, and 2 fully grown adults. We went to Ohio.
On the highway, it must be a trip.
Oh, it is. All you see is Goodyear, 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 Goodyear. That's it.
Because what are they like? 12-inch tires?
I have 10-inch wheels on my car, so they're 18-inch tires.
Amazing, amazing. All right, now last but not least. Now, how long have you had yours?
4 or 5 years.
Now, did it come? It came with this top on it?
It came just as it is. It just needed minor tweaks all over the place. Little things, nothing major.
No, I mean, how about the engine and drivetrain? That's all stock?
That's stock for the 1986, but it may not be stock for an 86 car complete. It may be part of one and part of another put together to make an 86. And then in 1990, they swapped out the body and put on this fiberglass one in UK.
Okay, now as actual Mini owners, here's a very serious question. What do you think of the new Minis? I mean, it seems like they've gone the route of all remakes.
Well, I can answer that.
They're bigger and, all right, let's have it.
I have a 2018 Cooper Works Mini, so obviously I like the new ones too. But it's small. It's not one of the bigger ones.
What I'm saying is that...
See, I disagree. We owned one of the first generation new Minis in 2004, and they were still very much small car, low to the ground, fast and fun. But they just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And now with 3 different variations of 4-door Minis, it feels a little sacrilege, just a little bit.
The current models are too bloated. I don't like them.
And they're big.
You know what I call it? And I don't know, maybe I'll get in trouble for saying this, but they've become Americanized.
They have.
Yes.
They have.
But I still like it.
It's also not in the spirit of the original. It requires premium gas. It's BMW level expensive maintenance.
Yep.
It's,
Well, that's what I'm getting. I mean, they've tried to capture the lineage. They've tried to capture the lineage, but they try and make it more of a family automobile or something like that. And I mean, when you look back at, like I say, it's become Americanized. You look back at cars like the Thunderbird. When the Thunderbird came out, it was a two-seater. But after, I don't know, maybe 10 years, it looked like a Lincoln Continental.
Right.
When
it was big as a Continental.
Exactly. And they're slowly doing that to the Mini. They're making it bigger and bigger and bigger. And to me, I don't know, maybe I'm just weird. Yeah. I don't know. But to me, the original was FF. Pure FF. Pure fun factor.
But they couldn't meet the safety requirements. I mean, that's when they stopped importing them to the States. They couldn't meet the emissions requirements or the bumper requirements. And that was kind of the demise of a lot of the small British and European cars being imported to the U.S. was in the late 60s and early 70s, all the car safety requirements.
Yeah, I'd like to get Ralph Nader in a back alley with a baseball bat one of these days.
I still like my 2018. A normal car, you go around a corner and they sort of fade out. With the minis, they just hug the corner and they're fast and you can get out of trouble very quickly.
Still can't drift them though, can you?
You
No.
could. I've got a 2013 Cooper S Roadster. It's a 2-seater mini. And it's not as much fun as that. It's not. But when you stop thinking of it that way, it's still a lot of fun. And it's still a fun car to go out and get ice cream and have fun with. I've tracked it before, and it's fun. But you have to stop thinking of it as a mini. I think of it more as a 1 Series BMW with a different badge.
Well, I appreciate all your time, and
Thank you.
I think
It was a
that
pleasure.
you guys really, epitomize. Well, that's why I'm here. And you know what? I keep repeating myself on this because the reason I enjoyed, or I really thought about coming to this particular show was the other shows. You see a lot of, like really expensive big cars and all that. But what I look for at these shows are the unique and the unusual.
Were you at the British show?
No.
That was a nice show. I had my other
My
car.
cameraman. No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. But, we had a mix up in a little, operation thing. But no. You see it today, so that's all that matters. But the unique and the interesting, and a lot of times I have to really look for the unique and the interesting. Here
Here it is.
everything is unique. I'm waiting to find the owner of that,
The Foldamobile.
whatever it is.
Did you look at the Isetta next to it?
Yes, I have, but that thing, when I saw that thing go by in the parade,
I know where
He's
that
around.
but but anyways, okay, I'm using up
These
film
are
time
these
here.
are our people, the rest of the lunatic fringe of unusual car types.
Well, it's all here, so I'm going to keep on searching, and I know I'll find them all. Thank you again for your time. Take care.
Take care.
Hey, we've been walking around, and again, can't take 2 steps without coming up with something interesting and intriguing. Right now, though, I'm next to a car that probably, I would say this is probably one of the most popular cars in Europe. If you've seen any kind of a European movie, you've probably seen at least 10 of these in the movie, parked on the side of the road or driving down the street. And we have the owner here, who is
Linda Abrams.
And this car is
It's a Citroen 2CV6 Special.
more commonly known as a deux chevaux.
Deux chevaux, yes.
Right. Probably one of the most common cars in the world, I would say. Almost,
They made 4 million of them.
at least. I mean, okay. So, the one thing I always noticed about them was the window shade top.
Not the shade that I.
The top itself is almost like it's like a window shade. You just roll the whole top back.
Down, snap it in place, and the top's down. Yeah, it's very easy. No electronics.
No.
Do it
Now,
yourself.
how long have you owned this vehicle?
8 years.
Oh wow, it's in beautiful condition. Have you had to do anything to maintain it like that?
New roof. I wash it and wax it. New rubber bands under the seats for suspension. I think that's pretty much it.
Now you mix those two together, because I would almost believe this would have a rubber band suspension.
Yeah, it does. There's
But for the seats you were talking about. I'm talking about for the car, it would almost have rubber band suspension. But because they were a pretty inexpensive car. I mean, how much? I mean, do you know how much these would cost in France at the time?
They were made for French farmers because you could have your utensils, your tools sticking out the back,
Right.
and for doctors, people who needed vehicles right after the war.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So, you have any idea what they would cost at that time?
They would have had to have been inexpensive because they were for people who wouldn't have had a lot of money.
Now, do you know anything about its engine, or what is it? It's like a 2-cylinder. That's the two. That's the
Two
do.
cylinders, yes. It's a 603 cc, 28 horsepower engine.
28 horsepower. Wow, not much. But it's good and all. It's good everywhere. I heard you climbed a mountain in it was it yesterday?
I didn't go yesterday, but it has climbed mountains, yes. It does hairpin turns in the Berkshires, getting it home, yes.
It's amazing. It's amazing. You know, I mean, because like I said, it probably is one of the most iconic cars in Europe. I mean, you see them everywhere.
Yeah, they're now using them as cabs in Paris, you know, for like a retro effect. Yeah, I saw them there last month.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
But you see people driving them in the countryside.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Now, you bought it here in the United States, I'm taking?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, did you have to do anything to it to pass like emissions or anything like that?
No, because it was more, well, it wasn't 25 years old, but it was passing as being more than 25 years old. And if a car's an antique, it doesn't have to do anything except run.
Really? That's all, huh?
Yeah.
And how does it ride? Is it comfortable?
Oh, it's great, and it's particularly good on fields. You know, each wheel has its own suspension, and driving across grass just feels really good. But yeah, it drives terrific.
That's why they use it.
Yeah.
Not many people describe their cars as comfortable driving across grass.
Yes, this is just feels particularly good on grass. But yeah, it's fine on the roads. Yeah, I've taken it on the pike, but I don't like it.
What do you think top speed is?
I think what the saying is like 0 to 60 in 20 minutes. But yeah, it can easily
Unless
go
you're going
60.
downhill.
Yeah, 60, 65 going downhill.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, I forgot about asking this question, and I said I was going to ask it to people, especially in this format here. What do you think you get for fuel mileage?
Oh, maybe 60 miles per gallon.
Really? How big is a fuel tank?
It's small. I think it might hold like 6 gallons. It's in, it's all
liters?
You know, I don't remember. I'd have to look in the handbook, which I have.
Because it's only a 2-cylinder, so I can't imagine it being, not a 5 mile an hour, a 5 mile per gallon car. I mean, it's.
Well, it got from the Albany area to Waltham on 1 tank of gas. But it was
really
right to the bottom. But yeah.
Does it have a gas gauge?
Yeah.
It does. Okay. Well, I know because some of these cars. I had one guy over there. He had a wooden stick that he used for a dipstick to see how low he was on fuel.
Yeah. No, this has.
That was interesting.
Gauge. And it's a really the whole car is a brilliant design.
Yeah.
For instance, if I park it somewhere with the top down, if the windows are closed and it's locked, no one can reach in and steal things unless they actually climbed up and straddle the top of the car.
Right.
There's a vent here that provides really great ventilation.
Right. The air design. It's almost like the old airflow from Chrysler.
Yep.
The shape of the car.
And they were made to be as inexpensive as possible.
Right.
So the windows just have a little clip, and they open and close. No roll-ups. Just.
Are the seats adjustable?
Forward and back, front and back. Yeah, but not like.
No, I understand that, but I often wondered because they were kind of like bench seats, literally,
Yeah, they come right off the track. You just unscrew a bolt and you can slide it right off, flip it over, replace the rubber bands.
That's interesting. Well, I thank you for your time. It's actually a beautiful little car.
Yes, it is.
I really love it. I mean, like I said before, it's got to be one of the most iconic cars that you see. I mean, any European movie, you see these. Sure. You see these in everything, and I love them.
Yeah, one of the most charming things I find about it is that it takes premium gasoline.
Get out.
That's French.
Fine wine, right?
Yes.
Well, thank you for your time, and I appreciate it. I hope you keep many years of fun driving with it.
I will. Thank
you. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too.
That's beautiful. On my endless search for the unique and different, I think I finally hit the epitome of the unique and different. I've made about 8 passes to this car trying to find out who owned it, and I finally found them. And his name is?
Bob Miller.
And Bob,
What is this thing?
This is a Fulda-mobile from Fulda, Germany.
As you called it, it's a peanut M&M, the blue peanut M&M.
Yes, on wheels.
On wheels. But it's probably one of the most unusual shaped cars here. I mean, where did you even find this?
One of my friends said that the car was for sale, and I Googled
Here in the United States?
Here in the United States. It came out of Pennsylvania. And I saw the car and I said, I got to have it. It's nice and weird looking, and that's what I like.
Well, it definitely fills that category.
Yeah.
Now, when you got it, did you have to do anything to it?
Just drive it.
Really? It ran and everything?
Yep, it ran and everything, yep.
Now, okay, besides its unique shape, what are some other unique details about the car?
A lot of cars, the pedals go through the floor, or they hang from under the dash and go this way.
Right.
On this car, the pedals go this way. The clutch, the brake, and the gas, every one of them goes this way.
So it's a standard transmission.
Standard. It's like a motorcycle transmission. Now you have to go through the gears, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have to come back.
So you just push forward and pull backward?
Forward, forward, forward.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, it rides just like a motorbike.
Really?
I mean, the transmission is the same.
And how many wheels does it have?
4. Yep.
Oh, it has 4 wheels.
Yep, there's 2 close together in the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what kind of engine does it have?
It has a Sachs engine. It's the 1-cylinder Sachs, German company. Same engine as in the Messerschmitt, same transmission. It's 191 cc's is the displacement, and it's a 2-stroke engine. You mix the gas and the oil.
Wow. I mean, I can't believe an engine that small gets this thing even rolling.
Yeah, it'll go about 50.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing. And how many speeds?
4 speeds.
4 speeds.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That's amazing that it would get going that fast with only 192 cc. How much does it weigh? It's all metal too, isn't it?
It's aluminum. The whole body's aluminum except for the doors. The doors are steel. And it weighs about 850 pounds. It's a little on the heavy side, compared to the Messerschmitt is only 500 pounds.
And a Messerschmitt, I think, isn't that a little bit of fiberglass in that? Or is that all metal too?
That's metal except for the top, the glass top.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, so how does it handle?
It handles really well because they spent a lot of money on the front suspension. So it's a little bit over-engineered, the front suspension, and it kind of increased.
That's probably a good thing, though.
It kind of increased the price of the car a little too. So it's a little bit overkill.
And what does it have for brakes?
Mechanical brakes, 2 on the front wheels, and I think 1 on the back, but I'm not positive.
So it has cables.
Cables, yes. Yep.
You ever worry about cables?
No, cables are good. You don't leak fluid, so you always have brakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. Now, okay. Now I think my next question on this would be probably with anything that's rare and exotic like this is, if something breaks, where would you get a part for it?
The Messerschmitt Club out of England has a lot of parts for the Messerschmitt, and a lot of those parts for the engine and stuff are pretty similar. And anything past that, you would have a machine shop make for you. So it could get a little pricey, but it's not bad if you hook up with a proper machine shop. You'd be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's a fairly standard 2-cycle engine, right?
Yes, exactly.
So you're not dealing with valves and all that. You're just dealing with pistons and cylinders and things like that.
It's pretty good, yeah.
Is it oil injected, or do you mix the fuel in the oil?
The fuel and the oil, yep.
Okay.
So.
Now, so I've started asking this question recently, and especially in this venue here. What do you think you get for fuel mileage?
It's hard to say because I don't really take it around that much, and the speedometer doesn't work, so I can't tell how far I'm going. But it supposedly gets around 50, but it's just pure guesswork,
Yeah, because I've been looking at some of these vehicles, and some of these vehicles have such small engines that one person was telling me they figured they got about 60 miles per gallon, which to me would make sense.
Right. Yeah.
It really would make sense.
Yeah.
We're leaving.
So.
Yeah, but I just when it drove by me in the parade, I just kind of my whole mind just kind of blew when I watched it go by.
Yeah,
because-
everybody. I brought it last year, and they really look forward to seeing it. People really are attracted to it. You know, like a magnet. Yeah.
Now you're saying they did a lot of work on the suspension, so is it comfortable to ride in?
It's warm in there, and it's
Yeah, I would
very
assume
loud.
so.
Very, very loud. So,
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, does it have a muffler? I mean, it has a muffler.
Yeah, but it's it's got the top and everything vibrates with the metal.
Oh.
Yeah, so
okay.
it's very noisy in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I finally found you.
Well, great.
I'm glad I finally found you because this was the one vehicle of all these vehicles here that I just had to get.
Sure.
I just had to get it, and I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Take care.
It's most unique, and keep it going.
Okay.
Keep it going. Have a great day.
You too. Now, where can I see this?
Oh. All right, we're still roaming around the microcar show, and here we come across one of my favorite cars. Now, as you know, a lot of these shows I've done here, I've always been a British nut. Before I got into anything else, I always had British cars, British bikes. And now here we have one of the all-time classics, the MG. And we have its owner.
Mike Crawford.
And this is a
1933 MG J2.
J2. Now, you were telling me that you bought this from a barn that was in this condition, though?
I found the car in upstate New York. It was sitting for multiple years. The gentleman that owned it got in a bicycle accident and wasn't able to get in and out of the car any longer. So I drove out with a trailer and bought this as my wife's 30th birthday gift.
What a nice husband. My wife, if I ever brought this home to my wife, you know what she'd do? She'd probably hit me with something. I know why you bought this car. But anyways, you seem to, it's more than just a hobby with you though, right?
Yeah, I run the shop, British Motorworks, working on pretty much anything A to Z British. I've spent my life since I was about 10 years old. I started tinkering with these, and then just kind of kept manifesting year after year, and now I service a lot of the cars that are at the majority of these shows.
You're a brave soul if you work on British.
I've been told I'm a glutton for punishment.
Oh, believe me, like I said, I own British, and between oil leaks and just, although when they ran well.
Well, they ran well, and if it's still leaking, it's not empty.
Right. I never heard that one before. No, but I mean, like my motorcycle, I had a 3-cylinder Triumph, and it was the most archaic way to set the points I've ever seen on any machine ever. It had a little pin that you put in the front of the engine, and you crank it around. You put a screwdriver in the piston in the spark plug hole, and when they spit the screwdriver out, and the pin would pop into a place on the crankshaft and lock it in place, and you'd set the first set of points. Then you put it in the, and you do that to the 3. And if it didn't start after that, there was something else wrong. Yeah, but it would start first kick every time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now you said you had to do some work on the engine. What's the specifications on the engine?
It's the spec on the engine's an 849cc overhead cam motor. They have bevel drives in the front. So the front mount, it's a vertical mounted dynamo, and then you have to set the timing on it and stuff. The guy had it, kind of close, but it wasn't. It would pop, but it wouldn't continuously run right. So adjust the valves, set the timing again, and I had to do that a few times because everything was just so goofed up from somebody mistiming it for so long.
Now, adjusting the valves, are they shimmed or are they adjustable?
They're shimmed. It has a cog, almost like a rocker arm that you normally see on the side of it. You'd actually turn a hex, and that will actually, it was an egg on the main shaft.
Okay.
And you could adjust the valves that way. Same thing with a feeler gauge, but you just go around and keep turning the cog until you got the right clearance. The clearances are all off. It sounded like these cars don't sound great when they run, but it sounded like a bag. Somebody threw pennies inside the motor when it was running. So I knew something was wrong. Just kept playing with it, and got a few factory books. Talked to some guys that are far more knowledgeable with the pre-war cars, and they put me in the right direction. They knew I knew what I was doing, but there are tricks to anything, just like the Triumph you just said. Yeah. If you don't know what you're doing, ask somebody or get the book, because everybody's like, oh, I can fix that. Plenty of local mechanics that tell you they can fix it, and then it's just a mess.
Yeah, it's amazing. But you know what? It's funny because the two engines that I think have the greatest exhaust notes are the Italian cars and the British cars.
Yes.
I think they have the most exotic notes for sports cars. They're just nice to listen to.
Well, for Ferrari 4Cams are probably the best. Even I had a few 308s. Those were great cars. And same thing, you wind them up, get the RPMs way up there, and everybody was afraid to. That's what they were built to do, rev. They weren't built to idle. And even on the Jaguar, same thing. You get that perfect tune and perfect RPM, and they just sang. Otherwise, they didn't sound good.
Exactly. Now, it being an overhead cam, you said it has a bevel drive on it. Yes. Bevel gear drive.
Correct.
Wow, that's amazing. I thought I was thinking chain as opposed to, because that's really
archaic.
No. I think that's a great system.
The system was neat, but it was just same thing. If you don't know what you're doing on how to set the timing or shim everything, then the car can just go out of whack real quickly. And if it wasn't set up right, I've seen a few cars that people I know have raced and stuff, and the gears will actually explode. And then now there's tool makers and stuff that will remake these gears at far better tolerances and better materials than what they had in the 30s. I mean, the stuff they made then, the heat tolerances and all those things.
Were they hardened?
Yeah, they were, but back then the hardening processes were so antiquated compared to what we have today. I mean, you can get different metals, higher, trying to think of the word.
Tensile strength.
Yeah, tensile, and then you can actually cold harden metals too. There's guys that do that, and tool and die manufacturers for like taps and dies.
Right.
You can do all those things too, and it just adds extra durability to those components that would normally just shred within. These motors weren't made to run for years. They were made. These cars were 500 pounds. They weren't $1 million machines. They were a car for the normal man. Not, it wasn't a Delahaye. It wasn't a Rolls Royce. It was just the common man's car, and ready, let it rip and hope.
Yeah, but they were beautiful cars. I mean,
they're cool.
You know what? I most of the cars that I see now, I say they all have the measurable FF factor, and I think that's the secret to most of the cars that are here. Really, I mean, they're not high speed, turnpike blasters, but they're just fun to drive, and they're fun to work on. There's something you can rebuild on your kitchen table.
No, absolutely. And the thing with all these cars, you have true enthusiasts. MG was, there's clubs, a international club for MG, and you have all the guys here that are true enthusiasts where they'll work on cars in their basement, or we'll work on them together on the side of the road. I've been to this event a few years in a row, and I've helped the founder work on his cars to get them all ready for the rally.
Right.
So it's it's a communal effort. It's not just one guy with a big shop. Hey, I'll come into your house and help you. That's the old school mentality, and that's what everybody's losing that now. They want to bring it to a shop and have it done instead of learn something. If this thing dies on the side of the road, it's not like you can call AAA. Hey, can you help me? It's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, I can tow it away for you if you want. But now the question I've been asking, and I've missed a few people on it, but in a modern day and age, it seems like everybody's main concern is fuel mileage. Now, let's face it, as years went by, the early 60s and 70s, all of a sudden you were getting cars with 5 miles per gallon. I had, like I said, I told you, I cracked up my car and I bought my first and only V8. And my father took one look at it and goes, oh yeah, that'll pass anything but a gas station. That was an old thing. What do you think you get for fuel mileage on this?
Say 20. I think that's
all, really? 20?
Obviously, when you run it, you want to run it. So I'm not worried about the fuel economy on the car. You get it going and just put the skinny pedal down and have some fun. I think honestly, if you were to be conservative, then probably 30s. I think that'd be realistic for the car.
Really?
They're not super economical anyway, just the way they were designed. But
Right.
I mean, they were made to move.
Now, so what's the top speed you had it up to?
I've had it at 70. White knuckle driving at best.
Yeah.
I've driven some weird cars. That's pretty scary.
Now, do you think that, well, I'm sure you probably wouldn't do this, but do you think that you could doctor this to handle better, you know, like different tires or anything to the suspension or anything? Do you think it would actually help?
There actually are a lot of modifications you can do to J.A.S. You can put a supercharger on them, get even more power. They run actually better with a charger. But the other thing you have to try to, I've had the springs recurved, new shock absorbers, which are literally leather pucks.
Right.
So all it is tension. On the
Right.
roads today, the car can't handle it. It's not made to.
Right.
I was coming in on Route 9 and the car was bottoming out. And you can you're feeling it. Every hit, every bump, you are the shock absorber inside the car.
Well, that's why I was saying, you know, like a different size tire. But I mean, who'd want to give up these wheels? That's the
other issue you have. I mean, these are comparable to what was on a TC, four wide tires. And that's, you could technically buy bigger rims, but then you have to swap splines. You have to do all kinds of other components to do it. And then I don't know what the interchange would be. You have to do lots of homework to be able to make something, one, safe, and then you're cutting down on the turning radius because wider tire, everything's going to change.
Yeah, but these are the ultimate classic with the knockoffs.
Yeah.
That's like, well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, everything on this vehicle is what I consider to be absolute classic. It's a beautiful, beautiful car. Well, I really appreciate taking the time.
Thank you very much.
It's a beautiful car, and I hope you keep up the good work on it, and maybe we'll meet again at another meet or something like that.
Sounds like a plan.
And many happy years of motoring in this.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I did. The Larz Anderson Auto Museum holds these lawn events almost all summer. And if you look up their site, you'll see the schedule online. And I guarantee you, if you find a make or a particular country that you're interested in automobiles, they will have the finest examples of whatever make or mark you're looking for. So this is Mark Dustin for the Great American Spectator. Keep the motors running. This portion of MMTV's Great American Spectator is brought to you in part by Pro-Am Enterprises. Pro-Am for all your embroidery needs. Call us at 781-662-8888. Or better yet, come see us at our convenient location at 180 Tremont Street, Melrose, Massachusetts. Pro-Am Enterprises, a proud supporter of Whiz Bang Productions and MMTV.